AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Our host brings you the leading minds in AI, sharing their story, their success, and their advice. Focusing on fast-tracking you to the top, AI in Action cuts through the hype to help you kickstart your data science career. To listen to the latest AI in Action podcast, head over to www.alldus.com/podcast or subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is Ankur Patel. Ankur is the VP of Data Science for 7Park Data. Ankur, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you. So let's start with a quick overview of who are 7Park and what do you guys do?
7Park is an alternative data intelligence firm, and we do two things. Historically, what we've done is we've taken alternative data such as debit card transactions, credit card transactions, email receipts, clickstream data, app usage data, location data, and we've cleansed those data sets, prepped them, and found meaningful insight in the data, particularly around economic activity, how the major publicly traded companies are performing, and we've sold that intel, the analytics, the backtests off of that data to hedge funds. That's been our primary business since we started in 2012. And more recently, we've had a different line of revenue as well. And this line of revenue was really monetizing the IP that we've developed around data prep and data cleansing. And that is where a lot of the NLP work that we've done is now being monetized for the first time ever.
Very interesting. So a lot of practical use cases that could be on offer there. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Look, as VP of Data Science, you're leading the charge on this technology advancement. What was your background and how did you end up heading up such an interesting project here at 7Park?
Yeah, so my background really came from the investment side. I used to be a sovereign debt trader for Bridgewater Associates, one of the largest macro funds in the world. In fact, they're the largest. And they've been very successful over the many decades. But what made them successful was their intense focus on data, using data to make really good decisions on where to invest and where not to invest. And after I left Bridgewater, I started my own macro hedge fund, and it was largely focused on using machine learning methods to extract insight from data. So we were building these models from a data science perspective, and we were consuming them to make investment decisions. Now at 7Park, I'm not investing off of the models that we generate, but the underlying thesis is the same, which is why I was drawn to 7Park, which is you can build really amazing models to extract value from alternative data and use that to inform decision making at investment firms. And we're now amassing massive alternative data assets, cleaning them, prepping them, and selling them off to about 200 hedge funds that are our clients. So I've switched away from being on the investor side and now much more on the technology side. And here at 7Park, I manage a team that oversees all of data science and machine learning.
Very interesting stuff. So to understand the overall AI ecosystem and the technology that you're using to implement such services, talk to me a little bit about how it works. What's happening behind the scenes in relation to whether it's NLP or any other machine learning impact?
A lot of the data that we get is just data exhaust from software companies. And that data is very, very inherently messy. It's super noisy. You have a lot of semi-structured text or unstructured text. And one of the primary challenges that we have is to extract information in that unstructured text. So I'll give you an example. If you make a purchase online, you usually get an email receipt, and the email receipt has information in it like the vendor, the item that you bought, the price of the item, these sorts of things, but it's structured only to some degree. It's usually semi-structured or unstructured. And our job is to apply extraction techniques to extract the relevant things that matter, like the merchant, the payment processor, the price, and then to add some additional information to make this actionable for an investor. For example, tying the vendor or the merchant that you extract from the email receipt and tagging it to a publicly traded company with their ticker. And once that information is extracted and linked, you can then have it as a table and make it available to a data scientist at one of these hedge funds to then make investment decisions off of. So our job primarily is using NLP to extract entities and then to link those entities to really, really rich metadata.
I understand. So you're already using the most advanced form of NLP, and with the rate of innovation, where do you see the current state of NLP going, and how can that impact your services over the next 3 to 5 years?
2018 was really a watershed year for NLP. So I think a lot of people that look at machine learning, they realize that computer vision has had a lot of applications to date. It's been very successful. You see autonomous vehicles, you see object identification in photos, videos, but NLP has lagged to some extent. But 2018 changed that because for the first time we saw very large pre-trained models released by the likes of Google. Like Google's BERT is a great example. OpenAI also released a version of their transformer-based model. And what these models really do is they make a pre-trained model accessible to the masses, and then the masses, like a 7-part, is then able to take the pre-trained model and fine-tune it for specific corpuses that matter for our verticals. And we're essentially doing that. We're taking the state-of-the-art language models that are being released by the likes of Google, then fine-tuning them on specific corpus related to finance, for example, and then using them to do better named entity recognition, named entity disambiguation, named entity linking to enrich the data sets that we receive from the software providers.
As a third party somewhat providing solutions with mass sums of data, there's a lot of challenges that come with that. The stigma of the high percentage of data science projects that fail, data privacy. So could you talk a little bit about what you've had to overcome as a company with the adoption of AI in enterprise, how you help your customers understand what services you can provide and have the confidence to invest in you?
That's a phenomenal question. I think most people are aware that a lot of data science is actually just data prep and data cleansing. In fact, some stats are 80 to 90% of a data scientist's time is on data prep and data cleansing. And we've recognized that over the years, a lot of the data sets that we receive, they're super messy. And the majority of our time is on the cleansing and preparation of that data. And because that is such a labor-intensive exercise, we've developed tools. We call it our platform. We've developed tools on our platform that allow us to very quickly cleanse and prep data. And so the time that we spend on these data sets is primarily around modeling and backtesting. So it's higher value add on the data science side and less manual work in terms of cleansing and prepping data. And that has helped us tremendously because now we're not stuck in the prototyping phase. We're actually able to take these data sets, cleanse them, model off of them, and then to deliver them in production to our clients. And that's how we've been able to overcome this challenge about adopting AI in enterprise. We've been able to kind of streamline a lot of the data prep needs, and we're actually making that offering available to clients. So it's not something that only we leverage in-house, but it's now something that we expose to our clients so they could use it on their data assets. I think that's how we've been able to get such great adoption in production. And then another question you had was actually around data privacy. It's a huge challenge for us. When we work with data, we can't have any PII. So our data vendors send us data without any PII associated with it, and that allows us to draw meaningful intel around how companies are performing without really delving into what is a particular individual in Arizona buying, because we don't really care what a particular individual is doing. We care about how individuals as a big consumer base are doing in terms of what are they buying, how is U.S. economic activity shifting, these sorts of things. But it is a major concern. Unless you're able to remove PII very, very quickly, so personally identifiable information, that data normally cannot be shared. And that's something that we've had to struggle through, and we've found a way around.
It's important for people listening to be aware of that PII is out there. It is trying to protect the individual consumer. It's important for people to be aware of those stop gaps and barriers so that this technology can advance and a company like you can provide really, really true value to bigger organizations.
Here at Alldus, we want to make the hiring process easier for all. Whether you're an employer or an aspiring employee, we have the service for you. For full-time work, Alldus will partner with you to find the best person for the position. Using both our network and our rigorous qualification process, We ensure that only the best talent is shortlisted. We will manage the process and work with you to select our most suitable candidate for your organisation. We also offer excellent temp hiring services. At Alldus, we provide a great opportunity to help you and our candidate make the right choice. The contract period is one long interview for your full-time opening, and the extended experience with our consultant helps you make the best decision. Alldus International is here to quickly help you find the best AI candidate. Our experts stay in close contact with our consultants throughout the duration of the contract, ensuring they have everything they need to get the job done.
I'd like to finish and talk a little bit about the growth Seven Park have experienced, particularly in the last 12 months and more recently the big acquisition in December. So could you talk a little bit about the journey the company has been on since you've been here and what we can expect to see from you guys in the rest of 2019 and beyond?
Our journey started in 2012 when alternative data was just cropping up, and at the time you only had credit card and debit card transactions for the most part. Over the years, you've seen a lot more alternative data assets come online, and we've worked through them to productize them for our largely financial audience, hedge funds and VC firms and private equity firms. But really, the trajectory of our firm has shifted since December of last year. We're acquired by Vista Equity Partners. They're one of the world's largest private equity firms. In fact, they're the fourth largest enterprise software company in the world if you consider all the portfolio companies and the market cap of those. And their thesis was really a thesis around data, that there's going to be an explosion of data. All these software companies, even though they're offering software, the real money, the real monetization opportunity is around that data. So they saw in us a firm that is able to take the data assets of their 60 portfolio companies and monetize that, not only for a hedge fund audience, but also for a corporate audience. So media and entertainment clients would find these data assets valuable. Corporations like big brands like an Anheuser-Busch would find some of the data assets that we have very valuable. And Vista is now giving us access to data assets for the majority of the portfolio companies. We're monetizing them, giving them very high margin revenue. And we're also then bringing to market these data assets that would have never come to market otherwise in any other circumstance. And I think this data play that Vista is undergoing, I think other private equity firms, other VC firms will do the same thing. They will acquire more data assets. They will acquire firms like Seven Park that are able to extract value from those data assets because it makes those data companies more valuable, and it makes the data prep, data cleansing, data modeling firms like a Seven Park more valuable. So it's a win-win.
I think it's very exciting for Seven Park to be now part of the Vista Equity Partners group. It gives you, the platform to accelerate even further, which is very exciting for you. Final question then to talk about the growth and the impact that has for your team. Your data science team has grown and will continue to do so. The types of people who've come in and done well, when you're looking to add to your team, what are the important things you look for in an individual?
That's a tough question. Our firm, we had a firm size of 50 people, and we're doubling that essentially this year. And my team specifically, we have 5 people, and we're likely to double that by the end of this year. A lot of the talent that we bring to the team is NLP talent. So if you have alternative data experience, or if you have natural language experience, you'd be a very strong candidate for the team. But what we really emphasize is that the space is young, data science is young, NLP is young. We try to find individuals that help complement what we already have on the team. So we like adding different profiles, different backgrounds to the profiles that we already have as part of the team. So if you've worked on knowledge graphs, if you've done semantic search, if you've done work in named entity recognition or disambiguation or linking, all of them are very viable candidates. If you've worked on annotation like Snorkel, or you've deployed models using BERT, Google's BERT, or Elmo, or Fast Text, all these technologies we're using, right? We're like at the cutting edge of NLP, and that's what we're looking for, data scientists that are hungry for applying the new latest techniques on lots of messy alternative data.
Exciting times ahead. Ankur, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, JP.
AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Alldus offer an exec search program. Alldus can help you discover how data science and AI can transform your company. With our unrivaled network of C-suite executives and senior AI professionals, we offer retained search services across the US and Europe. For more information, contact mark@alldus.com. Get the Alldus advantage. Become a member of the Alldus community and enjoy some of the following: AI meetups. Once a month, our community gathers to listen to some of the leading experts in the world of data science and AI. Our speakers come from all over the world, including Dublin, Boston, and Frankfurt. We also have our AI mentors. Our experts will provide mentoring to Alldus members. And don't forget our AI in Action podcast. Each week we have guests from all over the world talking us through their education, career, and more. Become an Alldus member and get the Alldus advantage. For more information and to sign up for our newsletter, log on to www.alldus.com. That's www.alldus.com. Alldus International, empowering through AI.